Hey everybody, good morning. How are you? Welcome to Thursday, the data roundtable for Thursday, July 10th. And we started exactly on time today. We started at 1500 GMT. It's 8 a.m. for me, but we started exactly on time. So really happy to be able to get together with you, continue our summer of streaming where I am doing my data roundtable here on YouTube at 1500 GMT, and then I switch over to Instagram at 1600 GMT and do a stream there. So it's going to be a busy summer with streaming, with clients, with lots of work. So really happy to be able to spend at least a little bit of time with you today. If you're just joining us in the chat, welcome. Glad you're here. Let us know what's going on with you, what's going on in your life, what are your data questions, troubles, education, whatever you want to talk about. That's what we're here for. It's an open discussion. The group as a whole sets the agenda for what we discuss. I walk in here with no agenda. We just see where the conversation takes us. And that format's actually worked pretty well the last few days. We've had some really interesting discussions, really uh, um, kind of surprising where the discussion can take us when we talk. Yesterday we had some really good discussions about LLMs and the different errors they make, and kind of surprising. I didn't realize that so many people were unhappy with the questions that they're asking about LLMs, because generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with the answers I get, but who knows? Maybe I'm just not being creative enough in my prompts or not pushing the edge enough in my prompts, right? So lots to think about, lots to talk about, lots to discuss, but it all depends on who shows up, who wants to contribute, who wants to give their view. I'm here for it. That's the whole point. I'm just kind of holding space and seeing where the conversation takes us. So don't be shy. Please feel free to say hello. Let me know what's on your mind, and we'll go from there. This whole format has been going very well so far. We've been getting some really active discussions. Lots of active discussions also on Instagram. If you also want to join us over on Instagram, we've had quite a few really good, really varied questions on work, on education, on things along those lines. My Instagram following has exploded over the last month or so. I've grown by about 35% over on Instagram, which is just crazy because I was stuck at like 21% for the 21,000, 21%, 21,000 followers for the longest time. And this morning I crossed over the 31,000 mark. So that's just crazy in 3 weeks that I can do that. But I'm here for the discussions that also happen on YouTube. It's funny how the discussions on YouTube tend to be a little bit more mature, I guess you could say. Whereas on Instagram, it tends to be for a little bit more of a student type of discussion. But I enjoy talking to all groups. I just enjoyed talking about Instagram. About data science. Gosh, where is my mind today? I don't enjoy talking about Instagram. I enjoy talking about data science. So I'm just happy to be able to make this my job and be at home and talk to all of you here. So really happy to have that opportunity to spend time with you. Also had some great client discussions yesterday, because in addition to the streaming and the content, I also do one-on-one coaching, and I have some amazing clients that I work with. So really happy to be able to support them and help them in their different journeys. So really good day yesterday. I had a really good day, really busy day. Sometimes when you're a content creator, or even just when you're self-employed in general, it's not always easy to kind of define what it is you do on a daily basis, because you're not always working on specific projects, right? You're kind of working on things that you're setting up for the future, right? So yesterday definitely felt like a much more active day, a much more involved day. So really happy to have been able to have that happen in my life yesterday. Over in the chat, my good friend, Casual Economist, says good morning. Casual Economist, you're such a great supporter. Thanks so much for being here. Good morning to you too. Hope you're doing well in your revenue management position. Hope that everything is going well for you out there in Minnesota. Let us know how the weather's out there in Minnesota. You know, you guys are much further north than I am, so I know it gets. I know it's still summer for you guys, obviously, and I know it's the humidity's higher up there. But I gotta imagine you guys are getting some pretty nice weather. Because overall, for us here in Las Vegas, the summer has been pretty mild. You know, it's hot, but it hasn't been like blazing hot like other summers. So I got to imagine that the heat in other parts of the country is also, you know, a little bit more on the mild side. So let me know how you're doing out there, Casual Economist. Thanks for being here. So one of the pieces of content that I posted this morning. Hey, Denelson, how are you? Denelson says, good morning, Sir Dennis. How are you, Denelson? So good to see you, my friend. Denelson out there in LA. So hope you're doing well out there in LA, Denelson. I was out there a couple months ago, but no more immediate plans to go to LA. In fact, I have one trip coming up in a couple of weeks, and I got bad news. I got to go to Denver. Ugh. I'm only doing it because I'm being forced to do it, but I got to go to Denver in a couple of weeks. Pray for me, okay, guys? But glad to see that you're here, Denelson. Let us know how you're doing. Casual Economist says that it's mostly in the 80s. Nice. That's got to be, you know, that's got to be pretty good for this time of year, right? For like, you know, mid-July when it's kind of like the hottest part of the year. That's got to be good to be just in the 80s. So good for you guys. Pretty soon, you know, we'll be at the what is it? The summer equinox, I think it's called, right? And then the days will start to get shorter again. So looking forward to that also, because out here it's so light when it's late here. Osama, our good friend Osama says, hi, sir. I hope everything is going well. Osama, so good to see you. Everything is going very well, thank you. Very well. You know, I was just saying how yesterday was a very busy day for work, very busy day in the content creation world yesterday. So yeah, everything is going very well. Thank you. Hope the same for you. Let us know how you're doing, Osama. Yassine says, hello, sir. It's Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. How is it going? Everything is going very well. We should be asking that to you. We should be asking you how it's going, Yassine. You're just a few days away from your final presentations, your final wrap-ups for this school year. So how are you doing? How is that going? How's that preparation going? Is it something that's causing you to lose sleep or like, you know, let us know how you're doing out there, Yassine. Hopefully those preparations are going well. Denelson says, what? Not Denver. I know, guys. I know, right? I have to go there. But, you know, fortunately, Denelson, don't worry. I'm only going to be there for 3 days. So, you know, I shouldn't get infected too much in 3 days. But yeah, I'll let you guys know more about that coming up. But I am going to be out in the greater Denver area for a couple of days at the very beginning of August. So just sometimes you got to do it, guys. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to do it. But anyways, do you guys have any trips coming up? Let me know if you have any trips or any interesting data science stuff coming up your way. This morning I did post a story about CES. CES registration is going to open up very soon, so that's going to be here before you know it. That's always at the beginning of the year, so once the summer finishes, I'm sure that they'll kick into high gear as far as their registrations and all of that goes. So it's always good to look ahead, right? It's always good to look ahead and start planning for what you're doing in your next couple of months, the next quarter, how you're going to finish up the year, right? I mean, before you know it, guys, we'll be talking about how, can you believe it's almost Christmas and it's almost going to be the new year, right? I mean, those things are right around the corner, whether you realize them or not, right? So always pays to look ahead and try to be prepared, right? So that's what I have going on today. I'm going to finish up some of my client work that I have to do. Um, Also, I have to do some finance work later today and this week because I'm going to start issuing refunds for those of you that signed up for my data science school. I have decided that I am not going to proceed with that plan. Unfortunately, I don't think I have enough signups to make that viable. There were quite a few signups, and I sincerely appreciate everyone. But I don't think it's going to be viable as a business. So I'm going to stop my efforts there, and I'm going to focus my efforts on my one-on-one coaching because that's really what I enjoy. But as I promised, if the school didn't open, nobody's going to lose a dime. I'm going to issue refunds for everything that was paid up to date. So I know that. Excuse me, everybody. Sorry about that. So I know that applies to some of you here in the chat. So you'll start seeing some of that go out very soon. So unfortunately, that didn't work out. But one of the things that I did learn in data science, and I learned this from one of my managing directors that I really, really admire, a really smart guy. And he always had this theory or this principle of failing fast, right? If you know something's not going to work, then find out quickly, right? Try it, find out quickly, make a decision, move on. So that's what I'm doing in this process, unfortunately. So sometimes you're able to move forward with a project, sometimes you're not. So like I said, if you guys start getting emails from me on that, that's why. But I am going to start issuing those refunds today. Some of those will start going out today. So Yassine is sharing about his final. So for those of you who don't know, Yassine is a student. He shared with us that July 15th is when he wraps up his master. So congratulations to Yassine. So Yassine says, I have to do my final presentation and I can feel it in my atmosphere. It's in my house. I'm not like super stressed, but it somehow seems like all there is in my life now. Okay. But I'm well. I'm preparing and praying for it to go well, doing what I can do and leaving the rest to the rest. Okay. All right. Good for you. Um, Definitely. Look, I think that the stress and what you're talking about is warranted, right? I mean, this is a big step in life. I think you said it's for your master's, right? So it's a serious thing to get a master's, right? So good for you. It sounds like you're putting in the amount of work needed, which is great, right? I mean, you're it's a difficult task, but you're respecting it as a difficult task, right? Um, you're doing your work, you're doing your prayers. That's a good thing. Sometimes I'm also a fan of you gotta just like leave it to God, right? Sometimes you gotta leave things to God. So I'm a fan of that. So good for you. You're kind of in the last stage here, right? I think you said you're doing it the 15th, so that's just a few more days. So hang in there. You're gonna be just fine. You're a smart guy. You're so close, Yassine. You're so close. You're right there, right? I mean, you can practically see the diploma in your hands, right? So good for you. We're going to be sending you good vibes on the 15th. If anybody else in the chat has already done a master's and wants to send any last minute tips to Yassine, feel free to put them in the chat. But it sounds like he has things, well under control. So I think Yassine's going to be just fine there. So Yassine, I'm not sure if we asked what your thesis was, your presentation's about. I don't think I asked you that. So if you're comfortable sharing that, feel free to do that. But you're just a couple more days away, so hang in there, friend. Hang in there. I can empathize with what you're saying about how it takes over your life, takes over your house and everything, but it's a short period in your life for something that you'll have for the rest of your life, right? So good for you, Yassine. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Today I did share some content. There was a little bit of a PyTorch announcement overnight. So I'm just saying, if one line can reduce your download size by 400 megabytes, how smart can you be? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there for conversation, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just making conversation. Just making conversation, guys. So that came out. I put that on Instagram. I might put that out later on YouTube. I think I forgot to put it out on YouTube. But how good can the product be if one line gets you down by 400 megabytes? I'm just saying. I'm just pointing things out, guys. So let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to discuss? Feel free to set the agenda. Feel free to put it in the chat. And we, as our collective group, will do our best to help here. Anybody else who's joining us or just kind of watching on the sidelines, feel free to say hello. We're a friendly group. No one's gonna call on you. There's no interview questions here. So just feel free to say hello if you'd like to join in, or if you have a topic that you want to discuss, any good white papers you've read or anything else, pop it in the chat. Yassine says, thank you so much for the encouragement. Yeah, that's what we're here for, right? Like, we're supposed to be encouraging of each other as data scientists, right? And also, there's so much negativity in the world, right? It's better to be positive and help each other out, right? Lots of tough things are happening in the world right now. Lots of tough things I think are still to come, right? So might as well support each other, right? Might as well support each other. Yassine says, what was the quote you published? Completely missed it. Are you talking about the PyTorch? Yassine, let me know what you're talking about. So I'll assume that it's the PyTorch. So for those of you that didn't see it, there was a quick posting on X overnight where somebody said that they published a pull request to the PyTorch GitHub where by modifying one line, they were able to reduce the download size of PyTorch by 400 megabytes, which is approximately what would that be, like a 25% reduction in their code base? One line reduced them by 25%. How good can the product be? How good can the product be if one line reduces you by 25%? Come on. I'm just saying. I'm just putting the information out there, guys. But how good can you be? I mean, so as a joke, I put that on my Instagram because you guys know how I feel about PyTorch. So you guys ask me why I don't use PyTorch? How good can your program be? How good is your development if one line reduces you by 400 megabytes, reduces you by 25%? Actually, I think it's more than that. Because they said that their total download was 1 gigabyte, and then they reduced it by 400. So what is that? That's 40%, right? So they reduced it by about 40%. How good can your product be? I'm just saying. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm trying to love PyTorch, but they don't make it easy. PyTorch does not make it easy to love them. So yeah, Yassine, that's what I put out there on my Instagram because you guys keep doubting me on why I don't like PyTorch. I'm just saying. Yassine says it was removed and it still worked. It wasn't a removal, Yassine. It was actually a different flag. They had missed a flag in one of their settings. So, just it's a reflection of the quality of work. I'm just suggesting. Just suggesting it. But yeah, it was a flag. So it wasn't a remove line. It was a flag that they adjusted. So if you guys want to go out on X or even on GitHub, because it is like a pull request in their GitHub and it has the whole history. I'm just starting discussions, guys. You can make decisions for yourselves. I'm just starting discussions. Anybody else? Anybody else out there wants to talk about anything they got going on? This is the whole format, guys. It's good for all of us to come together and have different thoughts and views. Yassine says, "Ayo, what a blunder." Yeah, I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. These are the people you're trusting with your neural network. I'm not. I'm Team Karis. You guys know that. So just something to think about. I didn't make up the news. I can only report the news. Anyways. So anybody working on any interesting projects or anything they want to bring up or anything they want help with? I love that we have a very consistent group here. Recently I've been watching, I finished all the available episodes of Ted Lasso over on Apple TV. What a great show. If you guys haven't seen Ted Lasso, that's a great show. So one of the little ongoing things they have in that show, they have among their coaching group, it's all men. And what do they call themselves? I think they call themselves the Diamond Dogs. I think it's the Diamond Dogs, right? Where they all come together as a group and, they kind of advise each other, as coaches and all that. So that's kind of like a little bit of the format here where people can kind of just come together, have a peer group and just talk, right? Yeah, exactly. Yassine says we should have our Diamond Dogs. Okay, so it is called Diamond Dogs, right? Yeah. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that show, you really got to check it out. It's hilarious. It's generally it's generally like a family show. There's nothing like too violent or too bad in it. It's just generally a good, feel good, funny show. You feel good after watching those episodes, right? I probably shouldn't say it's a family show because they do curse a lot in the show. But just a hilarious show. That won't. I mean, if Ted Lasso doesn't make you laugh, you're dead, right? Check your pulse because you're dying. It's a hilarious show if you guys haven't seen it. But yeah, that's what it. Yeah, so that I do feel like this is our own little Diamond Dogs that comes together and chats, right? So, guys, this is the format. Feel free to be open, talk, whatever's hurting you, whatever's ailing you, whatever's on your mind. This is the place for it. You know, I've been seeing a little bit of an uptick in the number of job postings that I've been getting in my email. Like cold emails from recruiters. I'm seeing just a slight uptick in that. It seems like maybe there's more and more mid-level to lead level type of positions coming available. So that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on, see if that actually keeps increasing or not. But might be early reasons to be optimistic about where the job market is headed for data scientists in the future. I obviously I view that as a positive sign. So we'll see how that ends up. All right, guys. So I'll take this as a natural transition to end the stream here. I hope that all of you have a good day. Feel free to keep on coming back. The format is gonna keep on evolving, and who knows what we'll be discussing on any given day. So really appreciate all of you. As always, please take care of yourselves, watch out for yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you guys next time.